So today, I'm going to build a website just like Apple inside GoHighLevel. So I grabbed my camera, my notebook, my pen, my laptop, and then I realized I suck at web design. So I went to Apple to get some inspiration, and I realized Apple doesn't write ads, they write thoughts that live rent-free in your brain. So today, I'm showing you 7 Apple secrets you can swipe right now, and I'll even show you how to build them. After checking out Apple, I switched gears. I reviewed my highest converting pages plus some top performing client sites. There was a pattern, but I couldn't quite put my finger on it. Then it clicked. These pages all had something Apple nails every single time. White space. Look at any Apple page. Nothing feels crowded or messy. It's like every element is its own hero section. So how do you pull this off? Well, there's 2 simple moves. First, ruthlessly cut anything that doesn't serve your main goal. Then, add more padding and margins. Basically, give your content breathing room by increasing the empty space around it. If you're not sure where to start, just double the space above and below your headlines. Get your white space right and you're one step closer to a site like Apple. Apple's next secret is your first and maybe only chance to grab a visitor's attention. Get it wrong and people bounce. Get it right and you've hooked them. But before you use Apple's next secret, remember you need to hit these 3 marks. The first is awareness. Are visitors just discovering you, or are they already ready to buy? This hero section must speak directly to their biggest pain point. And remember, show don't tell. Can you show the benefit visually and not just describe it? Let's see how Apple nails this. When you land on their iPhone page, they don't say, here's a phone. They show you a stunning photo, highlight the newest feature, and give you one clear call to action. Instantly, you know what's new, why it matters, and what to do next. Let's take a look at that formula and apply it to your own page, even if you've never designed one before. Now, if you want an Apple-style hero section, this is the easiest framework to start with. And once you have this one, it can easily be adapted to something like this. So let me show you how to build it. So start by laying out your section. So you'll start with a green section, so you can hit this plus button and go with full width. And you'll notice here, you want to allow this to take the full width. From here, you're going to add a row, and then inside here, we have a headline, a sub-headline, and a button. Then from here, I went and highlighted this purple one to make a second row here. So hit that copy button here, and then I can delete all of these. Now, inside this one, I'm just going to add an image. Go on the blue sections and make these 80%. Same on this one here. Boom. Now you can go in and clean up your font and your font sizing. Now you got your text generally laid up, go ahead and set your background on the section. So go to this blue section. Let's set our background color to black. Let's go to styles, add a full border, make sure that's black. And let's just change the radius to 25. Now for this image, you could add that same exact image if you want to build it like that. If I want this to be a animation or a video in the background, I've just made a blank one of that same image. So now if I go in there, what that does is it just holds your space. Otherwise, if you throw your background in, you're going to have to add in all the margins. So then from there, if you want to add your background video, so let's try that one right there. So now what I'd like to do is go ahead and go with cover right there. And you'll notice here we still have this border here. So if I want to get rid of that, I can just go, I want to keep a border because I want the rounded edges, but I don't want it to be black. So I'm going to just go there and make that transparent. And that's how you replicate Apple's hero section. Apple makes you the hero of every sentence. Apple doesn't sell a phone, you get superpowers. Notice how Apple says, now you can shoot in 4K in a phone you can put in your pocket. It's never, our camera shoots 4K. They give you the capability, you become the protagonist. Here's a quick rewrite you can steal. Our software animates your email campaigns. You'll automate your email campaigns in seconds. By flipping to you, you're not selling features, you're selling what they can do. That one little word change boosts attention, emotional connection, and click-through every time. So before you write anything, run your copy through this filter. Ask yourself, am I talking about them or me? If it's not about them, flip it. Apple never leads with specs, they lead with the emotion behind them. They don't say the new button has haptic feedback and gesture recognition, they say your finger has a new power. That single rewrite turns tech talk into a promise of transformation. Apple loves to tease your brain with fragments. No full sentences, just ideas that beg you to fill in the blank. They don't write, "Introducing Apple Intelligence, our new AI platform." They write, "Apple Intelligence, AI opening possibilities." Your mind instantly asks, what is it? What can it do? And you have to click. Apple treats words like precious materials. Every syllable counts. Short lines, strong rhythm, zero fluff. They don't write the new Apple Watch is thinner than before, has a larger screen, and uses more durable material. They write thinnest Apple Watch ever, biggest display ever, toughest front crystal ever. That rhythm and brevity, they stick in your brain like a catchy song. Apple doesn't call it AI features. They invented Apple Intelligence. Proprietary names become cultural shorthand. So sometimes you need to forge your own words when the old ones just won't do. Apple makes their pages feel simple, but if you want more details, you can always find them. They do this with a technique called the drill down. This slider section is a perfect example of this. It's simple, but when you click the plus, it's packed with more info. So let's look at how you can replicate this section.
So you'll start by laying out your section. So first, just get it how you want it. So if we break this down, we've got one section element in here. Then we have a one column row with a headline and subheadline. Those are aligned to the left. Now on this, for the green section, I allow it to take the entire width, and then the same as before, I cap the width at 80% on my rows. So the secondary row, I go ahead and let that one at 100%, and I control the positioning through some CSS, which we'll look at later. So once you're in here, then this is a one column row, I believe. So if I look in the page breakdown here in this section, so we have a one column row, and then in here, I'm going to go out and build out my first column. So if we look at that first column, and that's your purple sections in GoHighLevel, we've got a subheadline, a headline, and then a button. And this image here is actually a background image. So you'll notice I have background media type image, and for these I would recommend building them in Photoshop or something like it, and then making sure that the aspect ratio will be the same for all your images. That way they scale properly and they work. So once you have that and you've got your essentially your layout, then you're ready to apply some custom coding. But essentially you can notice in here on these, again, you're going to need to play around with your margin and your padding to move them up and down. But essentially I want these all lined up. So notice these are all 2 lines. So if they go to 3 lines, it's going to start throwing off your, where your button's at. So try to keep all these text sizes the same, and that's going to help you a ton with formatting. Now, my first version of this is on this page, and I was able to figure this out and write the code. I'd never written any code before, watched a few YouTube videos on it and used ChatGPT to help me write the code. So one thing you can do, just go in there, tell it what you're trying to do. It may have you go to like the inspector page, and then if you right click on this, like I'm on Apple, you can go to inspect, and you can start getting all of Apple's code, and you can throw this into AI and have it help you write whatever you want to write. Kind of as you get the hang of it and you understand the structure, you can get pretty close to it. That's how this one is here. Notice there's a couple issues. I did get it where it kind of tracks. Also, the buttons move it over. But there's a couple things I didn't like. One is it cuts it off here instead of like Apple's here, scrolls off the page. So I wanted mine to be like that. And you can see in my second version here, I've got it where it scrolls off the page. And again, you can add more of these tiles if you want. But again, I just needed 5. So that was the first problem I had, was them scrolling off the page. The second problem was in the mobile view, I couldn't get them to go vertically. Sorry, I couldn't get them to go horizontally. They'd just go vertically down the page. So the current page I have up is like this, but the new version I have does not have that issue. There, the mobile version, again, if I go and look at it in the preview, it looks a little wonky, but whenever I actually look at it on my phone, it actually works. So that's your first part there. Get these laid out the way you want them. And then for it to work, you're going to need to add a code element here above it. So again, just create a section, then create a row. And then whenever you come in here, you're going to get to this and you're just going to add this custom code element here. Drop that in where you want it. And then for the code, again, this is the code if you want to pause it. Again, if you're signed up if you're signed up under me as a sub account, I mean, I'll just give you this whole page that you can customize. But that's essentially the JavaScript that's, going to make this thing do what it does. I got pretty close there on my own, and then I found somebody who was really good at writing code and had them just come in and clean up what I did. So now I have it as a template. So if you're not on GoHighLevel, you want to sign up under me, like I give you this site, and I've got a bunch of other stuff already built. So that's the first part. The second part, after you have this section laid out, again, if you want extra cards, it's literally just as simple as like hitting plus on it. I'm going to just delete that one. So once you have the JavaScript, you also need all this in this section here. You can come and hit custom CSS and add all these in. So if I just copy all this and delete it, you can notice how it makes it like takes away all that formatting and some of the other effects. So I'll just put that back in. So I've got a few things on here. I've got a gradient text effect. So you'll see here when I hit OK, it's going to put this gradient text on here, which you can control your colors in here, how you want them to look. I've got this scrolling image carousel, a few other things in here. I've got to kind of zoom in so the little like Apple has where it does a hover. Again, I found somebody that knew how to write these, started understanding them, and then just use AI to figure out how to write more like them. So a lot of this stuff is here for the actual iPhone slider, and then I have just some other things that I've been doing. So you can see now that I hit apply on that. That's pretty cool. So another thing you may be wondering is, how do I do multiple pop-ups? So on this page, each one of these, so you can see this is its own pop-up here on step 1. Step 2 is its own pop-up right here, step 3, and so on. So I actually have about, even down here, these are pop-ups where I've iframed in funnel pages for the checkouts. So again, all these are their own pop-up page. So if I go in and show you my pop-up builder here, you'll notice I have tons of pop-ups built in this one page. And so the way that you get this to work, again, it won't work natively in GoHighLevel. You got to add a little bit of stuff to it, but you'll notice each one of these blue sections is its own pop-up. And you can control it. It's got this little custom class here, so I named that one Pop-Up 1. And all the way through them. So I think there's about 15 pop-ups. So then right here in the styles, if I go down, this one is Button 1. So I'm basically matching up Button 1 to Pop-Up 1. And there is, let's see, it might be this one here. No, not that one. Let's look at this bottom one. Okay, so here it is. Here's a multiple pop-up. So that's the code for it. And then also in the CSS, there is down at the bottom. Let's see, where did I put it in here? Here it is, that right there. So you'll need that.
So there you have it, 7 Apple secrets in your back pocket. But if you don't actually go and strip out the clutter, swap in those big impact headlines, and wire up your buttons with emotion, none of these secrets will help you. If you want me or my team's help to implement stuff like this in your business, join my newsletter and just respond to the first email and let me know. And if you like this video, YouTube thinks that you'll like this one next.